I'm back for Mark chapter 8. I did move it back up again. I guess it's better than the other thing. Okay, verse 1. In those days, the multitude being very great and having nothing to eat, Jesus called his disciples to him and said to them, I have compassion on the multitude, because they have now continued with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. And if I send them away hungry to their own houses, they will faint on the way, for some of them have come from afar. Then his disciples answered him, How can one satisfy these people with bread here in the wilderness? He asked them, How many loaves do you have? And they said, 7. Now, this is the second time this is happening, so that's what's kind of funny, like they don't remember. Okay. So he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground, and he took the 7 loaves and gave thanks, broke them and gave them to his disciples to set before them, and they set them before the multitude. They also had a few small fish, and having blessed them, he said to set them also before them. So they ate and were filled, and they took up 7 large baskets of leftover fragments. Now those who had eaten were about 4,000. And he sent them away, immediately got into the boat with his disciples, and came to the region of Dalmanutha. Okay. Then the Pharisees came out and began to dispute with him, seeking from him a sign from heaven, testing him. But he sighed deeply in his spirit and said, Why does this generation seek a sign? Assuredly I say to you, no sign shall be given to this generation. This is also ironic because, how many miracles did he just do, right? Okay. 13. And he left them, and getting into the boat again, departed to the other side. Now, the disciples had forgotten to take bread, and they did not have more than 1 loaf with them in the boat. Then he charged them, saying, Take heed, beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the leaven of Herod. And they reasoned among themselves, saying, It is because we have no bread. But Jesus, being aware of it, said to them, Why do you reason because you have no bread? Do you not yet perceive nor understand? Is your heart still hardened? Having eyes, do you not see? And having ears, do you not hear? And do you not remember when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000? How many baskets full of fragments did you take up? They said to him, 12. Also, when I broke the 7 for the 4,000, how many large baskets full of fragments did you take up? And they said, 7. So he said to them, How is it you do not understand? It's kind of funny. It's like how many basketfuls they got more than they started with. And for 5,000 people, men, it was more than that because it was women and children also. So double in each case at least. Maybe 3 or 4 times as many, I don't know. But, many people, and they all ate with more left over than they started with. And so it's like, how could this be about bread? Like, how could you think I'm complaining that you didn't bring enough bread and now we would suffer when all he has to do is pull out a little bread and multiply it into, so many loaves to feed thousands and thousands of people. Like, how could that have been a problem? It's funny, but all right. Then he came to Bethsaida, and they brought a blind man to him and begged him to touch him. So he took the blind man by the hand and led him out of the town. And when he had spit on his eyes and put his hands on him, he asked him if he saw anything. And he looked up and said, I see men like trees walking. Then he put his hands on his eyes again and made him look up. And he was restored and saw everyone clearly. Then he sent him away to his house, saying, "Neither go into the town, nor tell anyone in the town." Okay, so as to why it worked out that way, I don't know. It was different every time. There wasn't like a one-way recipe for these things. There are different things happening. So I read so many different cases of how this was done. But okay, so 27. Now Jesus and his disciples went out to the towns of Caesarea Philippi, and on the road he asked his disciples, saying to them, "Who do men say that I am?" So they answered, "John the Baptist, but some say Elijah, and others one of the prophets." He said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter answered and said to him, "You are the Christ, the Messiah." Then he strictly warned them that they should tell no one about him. So the other accounts have more detail here too, and this comes up a lot with Mark. So anyway, but again, I've covered that a lot. So. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected by the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed, and after 3 days rise again. He spoke this word openly. Then Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. But when he had turned around and looked at his disciples, he rebuked Peter, saying, "Get behind me, Satan, for you are not mindful of the things of God, but the things of men." Okay, I mean, Jesus had a mission he came to do, and, devil didn't want him to do it. That's what was happening here, and Peter was just answering from the flesh and from a wrong, influence of some sort. So that's all. Okay, 34. When he had called the people to himself, with his disciples also, he said to them, "Whoever desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever desires to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake and for the gospel's will save it." Okay, for his sake and for the gospel's, if you lose your life for this, you will save it. "For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him the Son of Man also will be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father with the holy angels." Okay, so that's a two-way street, all right? And this is all the discipleship kind of stuff that I talked about a lot when it came up all the time. So, I mean, there it is, That's what's expected of us all. No exceptions. 9. And he said to them, "Assuredly I say to you that there are some standing here who will not taste death till they see the kingdom of God present with power." And this is also in the others, and I explained it there how that applies. So you just have to look for this and that video. Anyway, okay. Now after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John and led them up on a high mountain apart by themselves, and he was transfigured before them. His clothes became shining, exceedingly white, like snow, such as no launderer on earth can whiten them. And Elijah appeared to them with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. Then Peter answered and said to Jesus, "Rabbi, it is good for us to be here, and let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." because he did not know what to say, for they were greatly afraid. And a cloud came and overshadowed them, and a voice came out of the cloud, saying, "This is my beloved Son, hear him." Suddenly, when they had looked around, they saw no one anymore, but only Jesus with themselves. So this would have been a neat thing to witness. I mean, just this light from heaven, and everything is glowing white, and it's like it's a little window opened up, and that's revealed, and then that's it. It goes back up again. So I think that would have been very nice to see. Okay. 9. Now, as they came down from the mountain, he commanded them that they should tell no one the things they had seen till the Son of Man had risen from the dead. So they kept this word to themselves, questioning what the rising from the dead meant. And they asked him, saying, "Why do the scribes say that Elijah must come first?" Meaning before the Messiah. Then he answered and told them, "Indeed, Elijah is coming first and restores all things. And how is it written concerning the Son of Man, that he must suffer many things and be treated with contempt? But I say to you that Elijah has also come, and they did to him whatever they wished, as it is written of him." And again, that was the John the Baptist thing. So, okay. 14. And when he came to the disciples, he saw a great multitude around him, and scribes disputing with them. Immediately, when they saw him, all the people were greatly amazed, and running to him, greeted him. And he asked the scribes, "What are you discussing with them?" Then one of the crowd answered and said, "Teacher, I brought you my son, who has a mute spirit, and wherever it seizes him, it throws him down. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. So I spoke to your disciples that they should cast it out, but they could not." He answered him and said, "O faithless generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I bear with you? Bring him to me." Then they brought him to him. And when he saw him, immediately the spirit convulsed him, and he fell on the ground and wallowed, foaming at the mouth. And that there are a lot of things that happen at these times when a demon will manifest, and this is one of them. Another thing I've heard happens is like their eyes, the pupils kind of go white, and it looks like their eyes have rolled back, and maybe both are happening sometimes, one or the other, but that's some of the stuff that will happen. And then they have the supernatural strength, and they're not bound by gravity, like kind of the dimension thing. Like I've heard, I haven't seen this, but they will climb the walls and the ceiling, and just like a spider, the gravity doesn't affect them. Just really weird stuff like this that they'll do. Growling, okay, stuff like that. Just very weird things. Okay. So he asked his father, "How long has this been happening to him?" And he said, "From childhood. And often he has thrown him both into the fire and into the water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, all things are possible to him who believes." Immediately the father of the child cried out and said with tears, "Lord, I believe, help my unbelief." When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, "Deaf and mute spirit, I command you, come out of him and enter him no more." Then the spirit cried out, convulsed him greatly, and came out of him. And he became as one dead, so that many said, "He is dead." But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, "Why could we not cast it out? So he said to them, this kind can come out by nothing but prayer and fasting. Unless you're Jesus, of course. Okay. 30. Then they departed from there and passed through Galilee, and he did not want anyone to know it. For he taught his disciples and said to them, the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of men, and they will kill him, and after he is killed, he will rise the third day. But they did not understand the saying, and were afraid to ask him. Then he came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, what was it you disputed among yourselves on the road? But they kept silent, for on the road they had disputed among themselves who would be the greatest. And he sat down, called the 12, and said to them, if anyone desires to be first, he shall be last of all and servant of all. Then he took a little child and set him in the midst of them. And when he had taken him in his arms, he said to them, whoever receives one of these little children in my name receives me, and whoever receives me receives not me, but him who sent me. Okay, and I mean, the others go into detail too, like that, you have to become like a little child and be humble, be the servant of all, and then you'll be the greatest in that, sense. And the one who wants to be great and exalts himself will be humbled, and then the lording it over, not like the Gentiles do. So the other Gospels have more detail, and I went into detail there. That's why I'm kind of just, reading more here. So if something comes up that's new, I'll go over that more. 38. Now, John answered him, saying, teacher, we saw someone who does not follow us, casting out demons in your name, and we forbade him because he does not follow us. But Jesus said, do not forbid him, for no one who works a miracle in my name can soon afterwards speak evil of me. For he who is not against us is on our side. For whoever gives you a cup of water to drink in my name because you belong to Christ, assuredly I say to you, he will by no means lose his reward. See, so if somebody is good to you because you're a Christian, and, they'll get a reward. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to stumble, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were thrown into the sea. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter into life maimed rather than having two hands to go to hell, into the fire that shall never be quenched, where their worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. And if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life lame rather than having 2 feet to be cast into hell, into the fire that shall never be quenched, where their worm does not die and the fire is not quenched. Okay, and that's quoting here. It is, let's see. No, wait a minute, 46. It's the other one here, 48. Okay, 48, Isaiah 66, verse 24. Okay, that's it. That's the one. Yeah, okay. For everyone will be seasoned with fire, and every sacrifice will be seasoned with salt. Salt is good, but if the salt loses its flavor, how will you season it? Have salt in yourselves, and have peace with one another. Okay, so, and that whole thing with salt was also something that I talked about in great detail earlier. So, all right. I think that's it for today. So, I'm probably going to end up finishing this tomorrow. There's only 10 through 16. So, okay. Well, this one is only 20 minutes, but that's it. So, you have a blessed rest of your evening, and I'll be back tomorrow.